Hello and welcome to On Tour with Sport24, the show that explores the greatest sporting cities from right around the world. For this episode, we're just north of the Equator, we're in Singapore. Here's what's coming up. So arguably the thing that puts this city on the sporting map, F1.
When you come here for F1, the whole city is very vibrant, it comes alive.
There are very few things in sport that's more intimidating than a huge lake when you're about to hit this.
In the sunshine, Singapore, and I'm on tour right now, so it's been really cool.
I had won a lot of the events and podiumed at the games, and it was really a phenomenal year.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Sport24, we'd like to welcome you to Singapore.
All that is still to come. First, though, I want to introduce you to our first guest on the show. We've got TV and radio host, sports broadcaster too, Edward Russell. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, what an amazing place. Do you want to explain where we are?
It's nice, isn't it? Yeah, so we're in Mandala Club. It's a private members club. This building actually began life in 1928. It used to be a hotel. And this whole area is the Bukit Paso area of Chinatown. It was given conservation status back in 1989. And I think you'll notice it's very different to the rest of Singapore. I think a lot of people see Singapore as a country full of high-rise buildings, but these are all shop houses. They're maximum 2-3-story shop houses. And there's a lot of history. Next door, there's a clan house, which operates as a building that brings together all the migrants from a certain place. So the one next door brought together everyone who migrated from Xinjiang in China back in the 1920s when they were, manual laborers here. And it's a way of allowing them to keep in touch with their roots back home. So it's a really interesting area. And as I said, I think a lot of people see Singapore as not only a land of high-rise buildings, but perhaps a really modern metropolis. But this area shows that there is a lot of history as well.
Singapore, though, what an amazing place.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I've been here 12 years, I want to say. Initially, and I think when you speak to a lot of people who move to Singapore, they probably plan to be here for a couple of years. And before they know it, it's been a decade, 2 decades. It's just such an easy place to live in. And there is so much to do, and I absolutely love it here.
In terms of sport, though, it feels like there's so much going on.
There is. I tell you what, Singapore might be a small country, but it hosts so many fantastic sporting events. Of course, we're here with the Singapore Grand Prix in the background. The World Aquatics Championships has recently concluded. Arsenal were here for part of their pre-season tour. There is just so much going on, and for such a small city, because it's so fantastically located in the middle of the globe, and it has so many fantastic travel connections, this is the hub. This is the place to be when you want to come and watch sport.
We'll have more from Edward throughout the episode. Only one place we can start, though, as Edward just mentioned, with the Grand Prix. So arguably the thing that puts this city on the sporting map, F1. Every single year, the streets of Singapore are transformed into a racetrack as the world's best drivers take on the Marina Bay circuit. Now, what I love about this, more than anything else, apart from being obviously the original night race, is the fact that one day, this iconic straight, locals might be going down here at about, 40 kilometres an hour? Then the next day, the world's best drivers will be flying down here at 350 kilometres an hour. It really is amazing. So who better to speak to about this subject, the F1, than F1 presenter Jennie Gow? Let's talk about Singapore and F1. Obviously, being an F1 expert, where does this rank for you in the list of all the great races?
It's right up there, I have to say. It's such a special place anyway. But when you come here for F1, the whole city is very vibrant, it comes alive. And I would put it on the same level as Austin, Texas, because everyone stays in roughly the same place, so you get to see a lot of people, you get to experience quite a lot of the local culture, and it just feels like everyone comes together for one weekend and just has fun, immense action, and I just think this place makes you happy.
When you speak to F1 fans, which obviously we do quite a lot, when they say what they're looking forward to in the race calendar, this is always the one because of everything that happens around the race as well.
Well, I think the original night race is named for that reason. It started 15 years ago. This is its 16th running in 2025. And I just think because it's done late at night, all the lights are flooding the track. It looks so cool, the skyline, right underneath the Singapore flyer, and it takes in all those amazing landmarks and shows off the city in such a great way. And a lot of the big deals in F1 are done here in Singapore. Before Vegas started, before other Grand Prix took over and tried to muscle in. But even now, still, you look around and the biggest corporate sponsors are here, the biggest partners, the biggest companies, the biggest potential clients. They all come here to sample Singapore and the amazing hospitality both inside F1 and outside.
What I always find so special about coming here in particular is, yeah, you'll go to different races like you do, and it's all fantastic. But when you are so close to the action and you see those cars go whizzing past you, again, if you've never been, you can't really appreciate it until you see it right in front of you.
The best example of this is when I took a former driver called Jolyon Palmer out on track for his first taste of being a spectator or commentator after his F1 career had finished. And he was blown away by how the cars looked, sounded, how close they were to the barriers. I mean, this is a driver, a professional racing driver who spent years getting to and in F1. And if he was blown away, as someone who's been in this sport for so many years, the average Joe like me when I first started, you kind of pinch yourself. It's very much a sensory overload, but one that I love.
When you walk around the city as well, when F1 comes, it is, you mentioned it yourself, but it's completely taken over, isn't it? And all the fans of the different teams all dressed up in all the different colours. It is one of those things you can't help, even if you're not here for the F1, you can't help but notice it and get right into it, can you?
I think the MRT, which is the local underground system, does a really good job of showcasing all the different fans and all the support that they have from wherever you come from in the world. And this is such a destination that you can come to from literally everywhere in the world. It's kind of easy. America, a bit difficult to get here, but well worth the travel. And when you step onto one of those underground tubes, you just look around and you see Ferrari, McLaren, there's a Sauber, there's all the different teams have their own supporters, and they're quite tribal, and they're very proud if they're wearing a Ferrari top and a hat maybe. So I love the fact that it is slightly partisan, but you can go up and talk to anyone.
For you, any memorable moments from Grand Prix in the past?
I mean, so many. We've been very lucky in Singapore that it's really delivered, rain or shine. And I think you have to go back to maybe 2018, which was one of the standout qualifying sessions, maybe top 10 in my life that I've seen.
Really?
It was extraordinary, and Lewis Hamilton just did the perfect lap. And it's very hard around Singapore to do a perfect lap. The walls are close. There's white lines painted on the floor, the ground, because of the road markings that can make it slippery. It's very challenging. Obviously, gets up to 60 degrees centigrade in the cockpit of the car, and it's 30 degrees outside, 70-80% humidity. So physically and mentally, you're really challenged as a driver here. And he just strung together what they say is the perfect lap. And it was a thing of beauty. And just looking on at that and how he put that all together over the course of the weekend, it was just magical.
What I've been impressed with, apart from what we've seen so far, is all the events that go on around the F1, the gigs. It's like everywhere you turn there's something going on. You walk down by the part of the track and the fan village is just, it's something else, isn't it?
The provisions are really good in Singapore, not only the MRT that gets you to places, but also when you're there, food, drink, cultural experiences, you really feel like you're well catered for as a fan. And the concerts, the headline concerts that they get especially, are world class. So we've had all sorts come here. They normally come down on the grid first, mingle around, hobnob with the F1 stars, and then they hook-foot it back to the stage and play to a packed-out arena. And I think it's just part of what makes Singapore so special.
It's the first time ever my 69-year-old mother-in-law went to a Calvin Harris concert when she came.
Wow. Did she enjoy it? I'm
Loved
guessing
it.
she did.
She bought all his albums since Spotify streamed it all. She's loving life.
That's great.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Whenever you come to Singapore, is there anywhere that you always make sure that you visit?
So I haven't done that much sightseeing on an F1 weekend because it's just too busy. I've been lucky enough to come to Singapore at other times. It has a lot to offer. There's all sorts of different parts of the city. So Little India, Chinatown. There's so much heritage here, but also lots of things that are very modern and new. So recently I've been able to go on the Singapore Flyer for the first time in I don't know how many years, but we've managed to tick that off the bucket list. And also went to the Long Bar at Raffles to get a famous Singapore sling. And they serve you some nuts, peanuts. And tradition is that you get the peanut, you shell it, and you put the shells on the floor. And it's very not in my comfort zone to litter. And there I was, just trying desperately not to just put it on the bar and leave it there. So the husk went over the shoulder, and it was a great experience. I really enjoyed it. A little expensive, but I did enjoy that. But there is a lot to offer, and it's just across from Malaysia as well. So if you're doing it, you might as well do Singapore and then head to Malaysia and do that as well. So yeah, it's got lots.
Thank you so much for coming on. Nice to meet
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And of course, with the glitz and glam of F1 combined with Singapore, this city is visited by its fair share of superstars, including English singer-songwriter Tom Grennan, who performed at the 2025 Singapore Grand Prix. Tom.
Hello, mate.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, man.
How's everything going? Everything right?
Yeah, man. Look where we are, man. We're in the sunshine, Singapore, and I'm on tour right now, so it's been really cool.
I always wonder, you know, these kind of gigs,
Yeah.
how do they come about?
I've obviously done stuff with the F1 before, so maybe because of that. But there's loads of artists out here for this show. There's like Foo Fighters, Elton John, and then you got like smaller acts like me. And but yeah, it's cool.
So this podcast is obviously about sport and about travel.
Yeah.
I understand. Are you big into your golf?
Massive. I think I'm going to play tonight. Yeah, they do a lot of night golf here, don't they? So yeah, I'm going to try and get like, at least 9 holes in today.
We're actually going to Sentosa Golf Club later on in this episode. Have you met any of the players then?
Yeah, doing the Ryder Cup, I got to meet like Rory, Shane Lowry, who weirdly is like, he's from the same place as my dad's from, a place called Offaly, which is a tiny county in Ireland, and my dad went to school with his mum, and so there's like a bit of a link there.
Did you tell him?
Yeah. He knows all my family. Got to meet the whole of Europe basically, and I got to meet a few of the American guys as well, like Scheffler and people like that. So, yeah, really cool experience.
Do you reckon you'd get a chance to play with any of them?
Yeah, I played with Tommy Fleetwood the other day actually. Really, really cool guy. Lovely guy, unbelievable as well at golf, obviously. So yeah,
The thing that I always find so impressive when you meet professional sports people is, do you know, like, don't take this the wrong way, I'm sure you're fantastic at golf, but you know, you're like, right, I really
No,
want to
I'm
hit
not.
it over there,
Yeah.
and you try and it doesn't necessarily go
Yeah,
that way.
yeah.
They sound it's going to land there, and it lands exactly where
yeah,
it
I
was.
know. It's like a third arm they've got. It's mad. Yeah, it is crazy. But that's why they're professionals. Yeah.
So what, for you, why is golf important to you? How does it help?
For me, golf is like 4 hours of peace, and I put my phone away, and I'm competitive, and I haven't found a sport since football that I really found I could really compete against myself and others at until I found golf, and I just love it, man. I love what it does for my mind, and I think golf is a game that can't be mastered, and that's what I love about it. There's no perfection in golf.
For you, when you come out to things like this, obviously you've achieved so many amazing things, you've performed at amazing venues all over the world. Are these kind of events the ones where you still find yourself pinching yourself?
Yeah, man. I was literally just chatting to my guitarist Danny about, like, look where we are. Look, we looked at the map and we're so far from home, and the fact that music is allowed me to travel the world and see places I probably never would have seen ever is amazing, and I always pinch myself, man. I feel very lucky, and I'm very grateful to do what I do.
You touched on it earlier on, but this is what makes it different. This Singapore race is different to the other ones. It's just like the level of party and the level of artist. When we're recording this, obviously Elton John, Foo Fighters, yourself, some big artists are performing. I suppose that's what makes this one different to some of the others that you might have been at before.
I went down to the track today for sound check, and you can just see how much money's been put into the event, and like the stage that Foo Fighters and Elton John are performing at. It's thousands. It looks like 50,000 people will be there, you know, and there probably will be. So yeah, just the magnitude of it is pretty wild.
Just finally, obviously this is a podcast that's all about travel and about sport. You've done this, you've done some other amazing events you performed at. If you could perform at any sporting event in the world, which one would it be?
I'd love to say the Super Bowl, just because it's so massive. But whatever sport event, though, I love doing, man.
So we'll put down on the list, number 1, golf, number 2, Super Bowl, number 3, World Cup.
Yeah, let's give World Cup a go as well. I need to be out there anyway, so if I can perform out there and wangle myself a couple free tickets for a game, I wouldn't mind.
It's been a pleasure to speak to you.
You
Thank
too,
you very much
my
for your
man.
time.
Cheers,
Appreciate
brother.
it. Thank
Nice
you.
one.
Edward, we heard from Tom Grennan, we heard from Jennie Gow there. What I love and find really interesting is how much Singapore changes when it comes to race week.
It does. Well, the biggest change is that all the roads closed and you can't get anywhere. But apart from that, it's fantastic. What I love about the Singapore Grand Prix as opposed to other Grand Prix that I've been to is it's right here in the center of town. It truly takes over the entire country. You can't miss it. Even if you're not into Formula One, the fever really takes hold. And everyone calls it a Formula One week now, and it pretty much is that. You know, it's not just about race day on the Sunday. It's at least a 3-day festival of sport, of music, of entertainment. And I think that is fantastic in terms of bringing new fans to the sport. Drive to Survive obviously had a massive impact on that as well. But Singapore is just such a great place to be, especially during F1 week. The whole city just really comes alive.
You say that, but when I've been lucky enough to come here in the past, and again, fantastic place to go and see everything. But you'll go to some cities and there'll be a huge event going on, and you won't really notice it. But with the F1, you cannot escape it, can you?
You really can't. No, I mean, Elton John was performing on the final day, and wherever you are within the CBD, you can hear Elton. You know, you can hear the cars driving around the circuit. If you take a nice view from up the top, you just notice how much of the entire city is incorporated in the F1 track as well, which also means that wherever you sit around the track, you get a fantastic view, not just of the on-track action, but Singapore skyline as well.
Right, I need your insider knowledge on this one, okay? I don't want to overshare, but Jennie mentioned it as well. When you come to Singapore, you can't help but notice the climate.
Yes.
It can get very warm, it can get very sweaty. How difficult can it be for a local? And how do you embrace it? Let's look at it from a positive point of view.
I mean, it's great in the sense that people, you know, want to go to places where it's nice and hot and they have summery weather, and Singapore has that all year round. Look, I've been here, as I said, 12 years or so, and I'm still not used to this weather. Essentially, there are no seasons here because we're right on the equator. You get about 30-degree days every single day of the year. Humidity's normally about 80%. It can go up to 100%. And when it rains, it properly rains. We're talking tropical monsoons. So if you are stuck outside, good luck. And it's nice in the sense that, as I said, you know, you're never going to be cold. You can just have one wardrobe. You don't have to worry about having winter wear at all.
I forgot what a jumper looks like.
Me too. Although, actually, when you do go into places with air conditioning, it is properly cold. So make sure you do bring a jumper for that. But yeah, I mean, as you said, Jennie knows what it's like to not just be in Singapore in the heat, but to race in the heat as well. And I tell you, man, me walking around the circuit in pants and a shirt, I was finding it very, very uncomfortable. So I don't know how those drivers do it.
When you come here during race week and you walk around, it feels like everyone who is here is involved somehow. It feels like everyone's got a ticket. It feels like everyone's excited for it. It doesn't feel like something that's going on in the periphery. How easy or straightforward or difficult is it to get tickets?
Yeah, it's very inclusive. Tickets do sell out. There is a massive demand for it. But if you book early enough, they essentially start selling early bird tickets a whole year before. It's not bad. For the cheapest ticket, which is the walkabout, which means you don't necessarily have a seat, but you can walk around the track within a specific zone, you're looking at about 300-400 Singapore dollars for 3 days. And as I said, that not only allows you to watch the race itself, but all the entertainment. And you will see a lot of people at the very start of the evening have already found themselves a spot in front of the Padang stage. They're there for the acts, whether it's Elton John, whether it's G-Dragon, whether it's Foo Fighters. So the fact that 3-day ticket allows you to see all these massive acts, it ends up being pretty good value, because normally to see one of these acts, you pay the same amount just for the one concert.
When we talk about how much the city changes, I suppose the atmosphere is a massive part of it. Physically, how does it transform when the F1's in town?
The city changes, and the people change as well, I've got to say. I think everyone is a lot more vibrant within F1 week. And we talked earlier on about the fact that it's inclusive and allows people to buy tickets, but there are a lot of volunteers that get involved as well. And I know you're at the F1 track. I don't know if you noticed when you leave, all the volunteers kind of applaud you and say thank you so much for coming, which is a really fantastic thing. And with all big sporting events, whether it's Formula One or whether it's the Tour de France Singapore Criterium or it's the World Aquatics Championships, the whole country gets behind it, because not only is it good for the country financially, but it's great for us here in Singapore. We're a small country to have all these massive events come to town.
Can we change subject slightly, talk about golf?
Sure.
Are you a big golf fan?
I'm a golf fan. I like watching it. I recently started to learn it. So I don't know how it works in other countries, but here in Singapore, you need what they call a PC, which is a proficiency certificate before you're allowed to actually play on most of the courses, because they don't want you just, creating massive holes in their turf. So I got my PC, and then I kind of put down my golf bag because I thought mission accomplished. So I need to get back out on the course and actually remind myself what it's like. But it's a massive work in progress, shall we say.
So after all the noise, excitement and bright lights of the F1, we've come somewhere a little bit quieter. This is Sentosa Golf Club. It's on Sentosa Island. Sentosa Island was redeveloped in 1972 as a recreation area for Singapore. Now we've come here to meet one person who knows this course very, very well. She's going to give me a few tips. This is Shannon Tan, and she's not only a professional golfer, but a winner on the Ladies European Tour. So who better to give me a lesson? Because, if I'm honest, golf isn't really my greatest strength.
Shannon, thank you so much for doing this. Do you want to explain where we are?
Yes, thanks for being here. And we're at Sentosa Golf Club now, hole 18 on the Serapong course. It's a par 5 and quite a bit of hazard on the left side.
I'm quite concerned about that. Now, as I've mentioned, I'm not the greatest golfer in the world, so you're going to have to help me through it. There are very few things in sport that's more intimidating than a huge lake when you're about to hit this.
You will be all good. You just stay dry. Yeah, stay dry.
Okay, right. I want to chat to you about growing up and living in Singapore as we go through, but should we start?
Yeah, sure,
okay,
yeah.
Right. Now, I'm a bit concerned. There are a few people down there on the fairway. Am I going to hit them? Do I need to, do I need shot 4 yet? Or?
No, it's quite far down. If you get there, it'd actually be pretty good, to be fair.
Okay. I don't think this is going to go to plan, necessarily.
Well...
No, it didn't go to...
No, didn't go to plan, no.
Okay.
I reckon we could move on from here and get past the water.
Yeah, I think we might slow one down.
I
Shall I just follow you?
Yeah.
Probably best.
Straight down the fairway will do, but...
Okay, thank you. How did you get into golf then?
Well, so my dad played golf himself, like socially, and he would go to the range pretty often. So he'd just bring me on the range with him, and I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and I just hit a few balls, and then it got really addictive, like just hitting the ball and seeing it fly. It just felt good, just hitting balls. So I think that's what mostly got me hooked onto golf, and then I got into the putting and short game at a bit later stage. So
it was playing with your dad and watching your dad that got you into it?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. So I suppose the crucial question is,
Yeah.
at what age did you become better than your dad?
I would say 9 or 10 years old.
9 or 10?
I mean, my dad played off like maybe an 8 or 9 handicap, so he wasn't really like that good. But I mean, getting the single figures is quite good for a social golfer.
Okay, so as a 9 or 10-year-old, your
Yeah.
dad had got to kind of get around the fact that his daughter was already better than him.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think in his perspective, he kind of want to get good at golf, so it might have been a good thing.
Yeah, that's always nice.
Yeah.
I always find Singapore really interesting because it's just if you've never been before, it's not what you expect. When you meet people on the tour and when you're chatting to people,
Yeah.
how do you explain Singapore to them?
The
How do you describe it?
the first few words that would come to mind would be clean and safe and efficient, convenient. I mean, like, to be fair, after traveling and being in so many different countries, I played in like 18 countries last year.
18.
Yeah, it kind of made me realize how safe Singapore really is. Like, you could just leave your phone out, then you would bet it'd still be there when you get back. So I think, yeah, just it being really clean and safe and good food as well. Good places to see, and you got a lot to do here. So it's a good little city. Yeah.
Right, I'll let you play my ball if you want, just to save time. She's amazing, isn't she? When you watch it on the television, you don't really properly appreciate just how good these people are until they really ping it. And I believe that's a technical term. But when she hits it, it just flies. And what I can't get my head around is it goes where she wants it to. So she'll hit it and she'll go, it's going over there, and it actually goes that way, which is not something that I've never been able to master yet. Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it shows you how far it is. It does make your life a bit easier just knowing how far you are away from the pin.
Right, shall we go and putt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go whole out, yeah.
Can I ask what that is?
Oh, it's a putter cover I got from the Scotty Cameron custom shop. I've got a few of these putter covers at home. Like, I just like collecting putters and putter covers in general. I've got a rack of them at home. But I would say my favourite putter cover would be the one from the British Open, played at St Andrews. I've just left it at home, safely at home. I don't really want to bring it out. I'm just really scared it gets like stolen or something. But yeah, that just means so much to me that I've just literally kept it in my room.
Because it was the first time that you played, that made it so special.
First British Open, and at the home of golf, yeah.
I feel like we need to talk about where we are a little bit more, because it's such it's just a beautiful, beautiful place. Yeah. Like you think about, when you think about golf, this is the kind of thing that you must, like, this must be like the perfect course for you, is it? How many times have you played this one?
Honestly, way too many times. I've probably lost count, but I think, yeah, the part about golf and having all this nature around, it's quite nice just coming out here and just seeing nature around you, and yeah, it makes me quite relaxed, to be fair.
I can imagine. Now, on the tour, what's it like? Is it quite a friendly place to be? Is there lots of rivalry? What's it like? Who's your friends?
I would say, well, we're quite friendly off the golf course, but I think when we get on the course, we just know we've got one job to do, and that's just to try and win. So I would say on the course, there isn't really a thing called friends, but off the course, it's perfect. I mean, I've got some really good friends on tour, like Mimi Rhodes and Amy Taylor. They're usually my go-to, like, just hang out with them and go for dinners and stuff. But I think we just make it quite clear in our heads that when we're on the course, we just want to win.
Is there a WhatsApp group of all the people that are on the tour?
Yeah.
Is there?
Well, technically Snapchat for a few of us, but yeah, Snapchat, WhatsApp and stuff, yeah.
Who's the most active in those groups?
I mean, for me, because I'm just closest to, like, Mimi Rhodes and Amy Taylor, so I think usually if I would text someone, it'd be them.
They're the ones.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right, let's do this then, shall we? Right, so can I have a go at putting? As you've seen already, you'll know that...
I would say putting it can be the hardest, but it can be the easiest, I would say, yeah.
So there's no pressure?
No.
Okay. Well, what you've seen of me so far, though, are you seeing potential?
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised. You're actually pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Thank you. Right, let's do it.
Yep.
I think it's because I've got trousers on, that's why I've not performed as well. Whereas if I'd have worn shorts, maybe I'd have done better. No?
Well, maybe.
Do I bend my arms or keep them straight?
I think it's there are a few ways, like in terms of like the way you grip it. For me personally, I kind of so for the left hand, these 3 fingers, and then right hand, those 2 kind of go on top of them.
Like that?
And then that 1 finger goes on top of.
Oh yeah, like
on this finger kind of goes out like
that.
Yep.
That's it.
how
Okay,
I
yeah.
do
Oh,
it,
you
yeah.
get some good control, don't you?
Yeah.
If this goes in now, it's all down to that control. Ready?
Yep. Oh! Hit the hole. Hit a chance. Not bad.
Not bad. Not bad. Is that a gimme, or do I have to finish that?
Or just for you, I'll let you have it.
Okay. Oh, yes. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. That's been brilliant. Now, as ever, as you've come to expect, I've been spending hours trying to find you all the best places to come and visit while you're in Singapore. Here is my list. This is the Tourist Top 5. And we're going to start the Tourist Top 5 here. This is Maxwell Food Court. It's what is known as a hawker's centre. It's a bit like a huge food court, basically. So you'll notice in here, loads of different people from all around Singapore. They'll come in and go to all the different stalls, food from all over the world, all different kinds of cuisine. And they'll get the food from the different vendors and come and sit on these tables and just enjoy it. If you want the best view of Singapore, but you want a little bit of a workaround, I've got the best tip for you. So this is obviously the Marina Bay Sands. It is the iconic place in Singapore. And if you want this view, but you want it in a little bit of a different way, so normally you go up to the Sky Park, which is on the 56th floor. If you go up to here, which is the bar on the 57th floor, you get a drink. So it's roughly the same price going to Sky Park, but you also get this view. For this next tip, the chances are if you come to Singapore, you're more than likely going to visit Sentosa Island. We mentioned a little bit earlier on here there's a beach, there's amusement parks, there's loads of different things, great for families. Now, one way to get there that's a little bit different is on the cable car. Best thing about it is the view that you get on the way in. Away from Formula One, if it's a major sporting event happening in Singapore, it's probably happening here. This is the National Stadium. Things like big football matches, big rugby matches, huge concerts happen in and around this area. But away from all that, this is a big place for the local community. In and around here, we've got things like gyms, rock climbing, swimming, all that kind of good stuff. So if you're looking for somewhere to get on the court, have a bit of a swim, it's probably here. Now, when we talk about iconic locations around Singapore, they do not come much better than Raffles, hotel that was opened back in 1887, and one of the things it's famous for is the Singapore Sling cocktail. John is a mixologist. John, thank you very much for having us this morning. How did it come about?
It started back in 1915 because back then ladies couldn't drink in public, so we created a cocktail that resembled fruit juice but also contained alcohol. So from then on, it became famous.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is it one of those things that as soon as you open, you know you are going to sell Singapore Slings all day long?
That's right. Yeah, it happens every day, all day, every day.
How many do you sell?
About 800.
A day?
800 a day, yeah.
Wow, okay. What's the significance of the peanuts, can I ask?
Peanuts. So it started when we first opened Long Bar. Because we served, this was the snack that we served back then. So patrons would come here, they would have the peanuts, and then afterwards they would just litter the shelves on the floor because there were no laws to restrict littering back then. So after that, it kind of just stuck with us and became our identity.
Hang on a minute, so if I take these peanuts out of the shell now and have one of these, with this, I can just chuck it on the floor.
That's right.
Now that makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable, if I'm honest with you, John, because obviously in and around Singapore it's exceptionally clean, so the idea of just chucking the shells on the floor makes me feel a bit uneasy.
That's right. So if you feel uneasy, we don't force you to partake. You can just leave the shells on the countertop, and then we will clean up for you afterwards.
Can I have a go at doing the shaking? But also, before I do that, you're 100% confident I'm okay to shut this down, yes?
We are.
Okay. I feel bad. I feel bad, but we're okay. Right.
It takes some getting used to.
It really does. Right, what are we doing?
So this is the shaking machine for the Singapore Sling. So I'm going to secure the shakers for you first. And then after that, what you're going to do is crank this lever over here in a forward direction. Yeah. So how it works is that you start off slow, and then you keep increasing your speed as you go.
get into that one. So that was my tourist top 5 for Singapore. If you're planning a trip here and you get a chance to see any of those places on my list, I'd love to know what you think about them. Just get in touch with us on social media. If you just search Sport24 on any of the platforms, you'll find us on there. Or if you're going to post, use the hashtag MySport24. Hashtag MySport24. Edward, you can't tell me you've ever heard a better top 5 when it comes to recommendations for Singapore than that, surely.
Not bad, not bad. I'll give you that.
Faint praise, faint praise.
I think in terms of Maxwell, I'll pick up on that one, shall I? It is a great place. There are lots of great food stalls there, but honestly, there are so many great food courts, or as they call them here, hawker centres around Singapore. I would say the top 3, Maxwell, Lau Pa Sat, which is quite close to Maxwell actually, and Newton, which is about 5-10 minutes drive from Orchard. The great thing about Singapore is you're not going to get a bad meal anywhere. And particularly the hawker center culture is so at the heart of what Singapore is. And food is cheap. Food is relatively cheap there. Dishes, you're looking at about $5, $6 for a meal. And in a way, it represents Singapore as a whole, that communal aspect, but also the fact that Singapore is a very multicultural society. It has a number of official languages, a number of official races as well. And when you go into these food courts, you can get food from all parts of the globe. There's Indian food, there's Malay food, there's Chinese food, there's Eurasian food, there's more traditional Peranakan food as well. So go with a big group of people, or go with, if you're going by yourself, go with a very large empty stomach, and just try dishes from lots of different stalls, and that will give you a really good representation of what Singapore's all about.
What I enjoyed about Maxwell in particular is because it feels like you're sitting in somewhere that's really traditional, but then you cast your eye further on, and it's like you've got all the new built-up part of Singapore. It feels like you're really in the heart of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also brings together people from all different walks of life. You know, specifically Maxwell, you're in the CBD, you've got a lot of business people who are sweating in suits, eating their chicken and rice. Then you've got a lot of tourists there as well. And you've just got the average Singaporean, if I can put it that way as well. Food, I think, really brings all cultures, all creeds, all ages together here in Singapore.
We mentioned the Sports Hub. How important is that for sport in Singapore?
Yeah, you can't miss it. We talk about the Singapore skyline, we talk about the Flyer and Marina Bay Sands. The National Stadium sits right there in the center of Singapore as well. It was built in 2014. 55,000 seats, so it's a big, big deal, and it hosts all the major events that come here to Singapore, whether it is the Arsenal preseason tour, which I had the great pleasure of hosting, which as an Arsenal fan was a big source of pride for me, especially being able to announce Victor Gyökeres as their big star signing. The Rugby Sevens is there. We also use it for concerts. So Taylor Swift came here and did 6 concerts, so too Coldplay, sold out, all of them, about 300,000 people altogether came to see those artists. And if you look at Taylor Swift, for example, Singapore was her only stop in the whole of Southeast Asia. So Singapore is really a hub, not just for sport, but for entertainment as well.
So let's talk about some of the other sports then. So we've spoken about Formula One, we've spoken about golf. What else is popular in Singapore?
Look, football without a doubt is the most popular. The Premier League is the most followed league, not just in the world, but here in Singapore as well. A good thing actually about watching football in Singapore, having grown up in England and watching football there, is you get all the matches here. You get the 3 p.m. kickoffs, which you don't get in England. People are football mad here, predominantly Liverpool fans and Man United fans, which again, as an Arsenal fan, irks me a little bit, but I'll leave that to the side. Aside from that, badminton is very popular. We had a former world number 1 in Loh Kian Yew. Table tennis as well, Singapore tends to be very successful in, and swimming. Of course, that was heightened by Joseph Schooling winning Singapore's first ever gold medal at the Rio Olympics. So that is a big sport, as seen by the World Aquatics Championships. Singapore is really trying to establish itself as a big home of swimming in this part of the world.
And kite surfing.
Kite surfing, yes.
Someone to be proud of?
Absolutely, Max Maeder, yeah. So he made his Olympic debut in Paris. I was lucky enough to be there covering the Olympics, and the kite sailing took place in Marseille. And we had a whole contingent following him because big things are expected of Max. He's a world champion at such a young age. And he won bronze on National Day, Singapore's National Day, which was a fantastic moment. And it was great to see so many Singapore flags flying there. And he's so young as well. We forget that. He's achieved so much at such a young age. He has a massive runway ahead of him. And as I said, bronze at the Paris Olympics. Who knows? Maybe gold in the next one.
And we're really happy to say that Max joins us on the podcast.
Well, it's my pleasure to be on. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. I suppose the first question I've got to ask when someone does a sport like yours is, how did you even get into it?
I was introduced to the sport through my father, and he thought it would be fun to throw the little guy on the board. So I was around, what, 6 years old? And then he passed me, he passed me some gear that he bought, and he let me fly the kite, and I went out of the water, and that's how it all started.
So it's literally as straightforward as that. You go down one day and your dad thinks, right, this will be entertainment. If nothing else, as a father, I could see the entertainment in throwing a child on that kind of thing, because it must have looked brilliant.
Well, I guess it was a little funny and entertaining, and in the end, right? Who doesn't want to see his kid having fun? So I
Exactly.
think I think it was a great little introduction, and it only really became something more serious. What is it? 9 years down the line.
And 2024 was a big year for you.
Oh my, yeah, it's the Olympic Games, of course, and that means that a lot more people watching. Suddenly, it's the country's pride at stake, and suddenly the competition gets really fierce and serious. And not only that, the season itself in 2024 was a big one as well. So definitely a phenomenal year to experience. That year, 2024, it felt like 2 years for me. I mean, the preparation, the games themselves, what happened afterwards. Yeah, it felt like 2 years
You're very
packed into
modest.
one.
You're very modest because you haven't mentioned what you actually achieved in 2024. Whereas, in the nicest way possible, if I'd done what you'd done, I would have been starting the whole interview with that. So you won a bronze medal at the Olympic Games
Yes,
in 2024.
yes, yes,
You
yes.
you even are that modest. You can't say that you'd won a medal.
I was on the podium. That's the thing. Yeah.
That's
It sounds better because you don't admit that you did
good,
the bronze.
good. So I thought you were just being modest, but actually you were just trying to work a way around it. I appreciate that. Can we talk about those games and talk about what it was like to represent Singapore at such a massive sport event? Because we talk about sporting events, but they don't go any bigger than the Olympic Games.
Yes, yes, and it was my first experience at the Olympic Games. I didn't have any dreams or aspirations for the games until it was announced that kitebowling is at the games. So it kind of came as a pleasant surprise because kitebowling is a little bit more of a niche sport. And so the experience was at the very least life changing to say, because not only did you have the experience of such a high level sporting event and all the eyes on you and all the competition, but you have what comes with it, the level of connection that you build to your country and the pride that you have for representing it, the the inspiration that you can bring by doing well or fighting your battle, and the type of emotions that it invokes. It's just a really fulfilling experience if you frame it in the right way, and if you have, let's say, a healthy approach to it. On the performance side, perhaps it was not. Uh, it was it was really good, of course. I mean, third bronze medal by no means is bad. I think just due to the way I'm so competitive, I was I was kind of taken aback that I didn't didn't get in front after the whole season. But more importantly, I think how that opened my eyes even more. So even less than the success and the results and the performance of the games, that this was an opportunity for me to see what more lies behind sport, and the fans, the smiles, inspiration, the all of that, the connection, and what the impact it can deliver. And so I believe I have to be extremely grateful for that.
That was going to be my next question. Were you happy that you got the bronze, or were you disappointed you didn't finish higher? Because again, that can
Yeah,
sound like
yeah.
quite an insensitive question, but to a sports person like yourself, I suppose that's the difference between your mindset around it. Or what was it like for you?
Yeah, exactly. I already mentioned a little bit about how I wasn't on the performance side too, let's say, too satisfied, even though it was such a great achievement, the bronze, relative to the season I was looking at it, etc., etc.
Mm.
But the more nuanced part is that I think there's two separate ways that I looked at it. One was the pure performance side, which, albeit I delivered well and I did what I could, but I it's not exactly I'm not happy with it because I didn't win, which is a very boiled down and very frank way to put it. But I guess it's the honest answer from me. Any other way would not be the truth, the full truth. But again, like I mentioned, the nuance is that on the other side, there's so much that it brought for the people around me, the country, the sponsors that I had, the team that I was with, and it seemed to me like that was a much bigger part of sport itself, and it gave a lot of meaning and fulfillment and general vision and direction for the future. And so there's two branches of it looking at it, and my small little world of my own personal performance and the opened up view of how it fits into the whole context of you know Singapore and sports in general.
For you, what is the most special thing about representing Singapore when it comes to international sporting events?
That's interesting. I think it's a little bit of a unique presence because Singapore doesn't have that strong of a sporting culture yet, and it's kind of fun to spearhead a little bit the or be part of, let's say, the movement for a sports culture to grow in Singapore and to represent it with pride at the international stage. And it feels a little bit special because you don't see that many Singaporeans, and you always build a close connection to other Singaporean athletes, and you're supported really well for your efforts, which is always something amazing.
We've been to the National Sports Hub. I understand it's somewhere you
Oh,
visit
yes.
often. What a place!
Yes, yes. Yeah, indeed. Indeed. They make a really serious effort to try and support their athletes as well as they can. And they have plans to make that sports hub into even something bigger, adding dormitories, sports school, more sports science centers, a better stadium, etc. And so you really see their investment into creating a great sporting culture for Singapore.
I've absolutely loved my time in Singapore. The one thing that I've noticed is Singlish. So like the combination of English and Singaporean phrases. Have you got any
Yes,
that
yes.
you can educate me with?
Oh, okay. I have a couple of phrases. I'm by no means good at it, but I do use a couple. So sui sui is kind of like all in order, all tidy, all nice, and all it's basically for well put together and neat and tidy, right? There's this nice little phrase called you can use this one I think more often in your day-to-day life is yasu. Yasu is nosy or gossipy, right? It's Kaisu, and people use it a lot for people who like to gossip and are nosy and really want to figure, be figuring out stuff.
Kaisu. I'm going to write that one down. I like that one.
Yes, yes, yes. It's basically someone you can call who's a little too nosy and gossipy,
Okay.
and that's what you call it, yasu. Or just nosy and wants to know stuff in general.
Okay.
What else would I know? One that I use quite that came actually was received very well, I heard, was Nua, which is Nua. It's a special pronunciation, and it means just lays around, lie in bed, and or relax in a very free manner. Nua Nua, and it's kind of my favorite way to break. Is just lay there, take a rest, and don't do anything. Or just chill.
NUA. Right. Okay. I've got that one.
Yeah,
I like
just
these.
there's a couple of many phrases and the accentation and everything. It's very very. I always feel like it's a cultural heritage now
Yeah, I like
with
it.
that with Singlish.
The other thing that I really enjoyed about Singapore so far is the hawker centres. So
Of course.
Maxwell, really big
Yes.
fan of. Have you got any
Yes,
favourites
yes.
yourself, or?
Oh, well, there's one very near to home. It's called the Bedok Corner Food Center, and that hawker center I went to when I was a very little kid with my dad. We went there for breakfast all the time. We had a lot of cool, because I was homeschooled. I had a lot of cool class lessons there about all sorts of topics, or just cool, good breakfast with the family, and a lot of memories there. So that would have to be my pick.
You've had the best life. Thank you so much.
Indeed,
You really
indeed,
have.
yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Really, really great to speak to you. Just before you go, whenever we get anyone come on or that we chat to, we always ask for one recommendation. So I'm after one place that you think, if you're landing now, maybe you're on your way to Singapore, maybe you're on the plane as we talk, where's the one place that they should definitely visit? Be that a cafe, a restaurant, a certain area. I'm trying not to think the obvious places. So, not the obvious places.
Right.
Where would,
Right.
let's say that I say to you, Max, do you know what? I'm in Singapore next week. Where are you taking me? I've got an hour. Where are you taking me?
Mm-hmm. That's a really great question.
Thank you.
I believe that there's a beautiful road along the east side of Singapore, very famous for its restaurant and its food, and there's little hawkers and little restaurants, and they're all very local. Or there's some just good food in general from cuisines all over the world, and it's called Siglap. That little area of Singapore, Siglap and Siglap Road, there's so much to explore there, and taking a bus along there or taking a walk along there, and perhaps look at some recommendations. All along there, they're all good. Just see whatever tickles your fancy, because it's amazing.
Could you spell that for me, just because I'm aware there'll be people.
Siglap, Siglap Road.
Siglap.
It's the name of an area, and it's the name of a road. There in general, is lots of stuff to find and to do. It's great.
Max, pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much for coming on. We'll speak to you soon.
Thank you for having me on. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much to Max Maeder for being on the show. Edward, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to us. Thank you very much for sorting all this out. Before we go, is there anything that you can tell me that when I'm walking around Singapore, people listen to the show that go, oh, if I say this, they'll know. They'll know I know. I'm in. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, well, we've talked about hawker culture, and a large part of that is choping culture. Now, chope means to essentially reserve a table or hold a table, because it's tough. You want to go order your food at a stall, but you also want to keep that seat, right? You don't want to come back with your tray and somebody's taken your seat. So what you do is you chope the table. Most people will do it by putting a packet of tissues on there. So make sure you keep a packet of tissues handy, stick it on the table, and that'll signify, that's mine, this seat is taken, you can't sit here. Otherwise, you could do it with an umbrella or something else like that. It confuses a lot of people, because if you're not used to this as a tourist, you go to a table and you see tissues there, you think, oh, someone's left some tissues, that's right, I'll move it to the side and I'll sit here. And then somebody comes back and they're like, oh yeah, I choked that table. So yes, look out for tissues. That means don't sit there, someone else is going to sit there.
I am literally going through all the times I've been to Singapore now thinking, have I ever moved any tissues? If I have, I apologise if I've ever moved any tissues. So it's chope?
Chope, C-H-O-P-E.
Chope, yeah. Okay. So if I do that, I'm fine.
And
okay.
that stands for a lot of things. You can chope a table, you can chope a spot in a queue. Essentially just, I'm going to reserve that. I'm going to choke that first.
Yeah, I'm just going to be looking for tissues everywhere. That's just what's going to happen. The other thing that we ask people to do is try and give us a recommendation. Obviously, you will agree that the Tourist Top 5 was a fantastic, very much all-encompassing view of Singapore.
Quite.
But I think you might have a couple of places that we might know about.
Yeah, look, as I said at the top of the show, I think a lot of people see Singapore as this big modern metropolis, which it is, and it's great to go to the rooftops and see the bright lights at night. But going off the beaten track, you can step back in time a little bit by taking a bum boat to Pulau Ubin. So you catch this boat from Changi Ferry Terminal down there, and it's probably the last remaining relic of what Singapore used to be like, the kampongs, the small little sheds, huts, if I can put it that way, that people used to live in. Rent a bike, because there is no way you're going to be able to walk around, especially in the heat, and just kind of take a step back in time. I would say that's my off the beaten track suggestion. And you will come across some fantastic wildlife as well. There are wild boars, the massive, on the subject of F1, the Godzilla, the big lizards, the monitor lizards. It's a very different part of Singapore, but I think an equally important part of Singapore as well.
Tell me that name again.
Pulau Ubin. So Pulau means island, and that's the name of the island, Ubin. So it's P-U-L-A-U-U-B-I-N.
I love it when we spell it out as well.
I did have to run it through my head. Is that how you spell it? Yeah, got it. Okay.
It makes it so much easier when I'm writing my notes. Edward, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
That is it from us here in Singapore. Thank you so much for joining us. Singapore, What an amazing place. Thank you so much for having us. Don't forget, if you're travelling anytime soon, you can check out the full schedule at sport24live.com. That's sport24live.com. So whether you are in the air or you're at sea, you will not miss the biggest sporting events. And don't forget, subscribe to the podcast too. If you go on there now, there are episodes from Chicago, from Sydney, from New York, from Paris, and many, many more. If you get yourself on there, subscribe, you will not miss a moment. But from me, Rob Adcock, and the rest of the On Tour with Sport 2014, we'll see you soon.